His name is Oleksandr Potii. He's general in the Ukrainian army, and he's connecting live to CYSAT from Kyiv in Ukraine. General Potii, can you hear me? Does the connection
Yes.
work?
Nice to meet you. Yes, yeah, I very good hear you.
Excellent, it's working. Welcome to CYSAT, General Potii. I am very grateful to have you on board for this edition of CYSAT to talk about cybersecurity for space. Let me very shortly introduce yourself. You currently hold the position of Deputy Chief of the State Service of Special Communications and Information Protection with the acronym SSS-CIP. You're based in Kyiv. You have several critical mandates for the Ukrainian government regarding communications. This is a very hot topic, obviously, since last year and the beginning of the war. The attack on VIASAT and the impact on the communications for the Ukrainian army was a big deal, a big topic for the space industry. When we drafted the agenda of this year's edition, we wanted to have the internal perspective of Ukraine, of somebody really inside the Ukrainian government telling us why it is important to rely on space assets, on satellites for communications, but also Earth observation data, collecting intelligence. Why is space becoming so critical for countries, and especially in times of war? So I'm very also grateful to Olga. She will be also with us today, serving as a translator if needed. And a special thanks to Olga, because that's thanks to her that we were able to connect with you today, General Potii. So thanks, Olga, for your great work. Very happy to be here with you. I'll leave you the stage for your keynote today, and then I'll be back with questions on my side and also from the audience. Please, the floor is yours, Oleksandr Potii, live from Kyiv.
Thank you very much for invitation to this very important, very interesting event, your conference, very famous conference from cyber security and space system. Short about CCIP, which I represent. CCIP, this is a government agency who is responsible for cybersecurity, critical infrastructure, sites in Ukraine, information, government resource, information system for different agencies. We're responsible for regulation and cryptographic and technical security information. We develop cryptography standard, realized cryptography device for Ukraine agency, and we're responsible for special communication. This is government communication for President of Ukraine and military command and another agency. Today I do my presentation about some lessons learned from how important space component, satellite communication infrastructure component for my country and during this war. And first of all, I'm very grateful for our partners from Europe country and USA, Canada, and other country, and for your people and government for support Ukraine during this war. This is very important for my people, your support during this hard time. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me speak in terms of some practical experience we've got through the confronting Russia's aggression and last year. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the unprovoked and unjust war against the Ukrainian people, is the first armed conflict where cyberspace has fully become a warfare domain. Those aren't just words. To date, only one of our operative units, the 30A National Response Team, is tracking malicious activities of over 80 plus hacking groups, most of them being associated with the Russian Federation. According to our observation, about 90% of Russian hacking groups belong to uniformed service and either they're coordinated by or coordinated with Russian military command or are funded by Russia's leadership. Russia is implementing its concept of hybrid warfare on the battlefield. This concept implies that they use all kinds of influence on the country they attack. We can see a clear connection of cyber attacks with conventional and psyops attacks, including in the space industry. To Ukraine, space isn't just an epitome of humankind's long-standing desire to reach the stars. It is an actual component of critical infrastructure. I'd like to remind you that the satellite communication infrastructure has enabled us to stay in touch while quickly restoring lost communication in the retaken areas since the beginning of the invasion. Specifically, we are talking about the Starlink terminals. Thanks to them, we have managed to ensure that civil communication systems function across the liberated frontline areas and the areas that had suffered from massive missile attacks on Ukrainian civilian and energy infrastructure. Those terminals are most widely used to support power supply companies that provide electricity to thousands of households. Starlink also helps ensure an uninterrupted connection with the social facilities that render vital service for thousands of people of Ukraine, like hospitals, fire brigades, town councils, volunteer centers, etc. Like the Starlink Plus generator kit has become a basic necessity this winter, essential for any Ukrainian company to operate and for citizens to stay in touch, as well as for all our mobile operators to promptly restore connectivity. For instance, it was a Starlink terminal with an industrial-grade generator that enabled us to bring back Ukrainian mobile communication. On the very first day after the liberation of Kherson region, where both power supply and telecom infrastructure were heavily damaged by the enemy and were virtually non-functional. The enemy is well aware of the significance of the satellite components for us. They would do anything to deprive us of this advantage. Russia is doing everything possible to mute or damage Starlink and other carriers in Ukraine, leaving Ukraine with no communication. This battlefield is even wider than cyberspace or outer space, as it involves such aspects as diplomacy or espionage. We can see that Russia is targeting most civilian infrastructure. You might have experienced this as well. We can see that all their attacks in cyberspace have three key objectives: destruction, propaganda, and espionage. Now, let me elaborate on what it means in practice. Here, we are talking about the attack on the VIASAT satellite communication network. During the first hours of the full-scale invasion, the enemy disrupted the VIASAT satellite communication network. This network was also used by our military forces as a backup communication channel. The cyber attack affected Ukrainian clients and tens of thousands of European clients. However, the enemy failed to achieve its main goal, that is to kill communication, that is critically important for our military forces to defend our country. This was a targeted DDoS attack that disabled a large number of the company's modems. Early morning, on February 24, 2022, large volumes of focused malicious traffic emanated from multiple modems and associated client equipment physically located in Ukraine were detected. The attack was carried out using AC-trained malware designed to wipe modems and routers. AC-trained is among the malware used by Russian hackers during cyber attacks against Ukraine. Yet, we can state with complex certainty that this attack has been waged by Russian military hackers acting upon the instruction of the country leaders. It has been an integral part of the Russian Federation military aggression against our country, and it took place simultaneously with the military invasion. This information was confirmed by the global community. Importantly, almost 30 countries in total, including the USA, Canada, and European states, released a statement attributing this attack to Russia. What can we learn from this attack? Not only satellite, but also if the terrestrial infrastructure are vulnerable. Cyber protection of the satellite infrastructure should be seen as an inseparable interconnection of every single component, from centralized controls to user terminals, from key node security to user cyber hygiene. Yet, cyber attacks are not the only threat. The aggressor is using outer space to spread propaganda and as a tool for their psyops. The aggressor state use its satellite infrastructure to spread propaganda. We see that Russians, when attempting to take over the particular area, start by destroying mobile network base station to deny citizens access to the truth. Meanwhile, they attempt to use our TV and radio broadcasting infrastructure to feed their propaganda to the locals, to brainwash them. And the satellite component plays a key role here. When preparing to the full-scale invasion, Russians created a packet of several TV channels they were going to broadcast in the Russian-controlled areas of Ukraine using the T2 network. At the end of last year, Russian propagandists announced a new satellite TV operator called the Russian Vault. This operator was said to have been created specifically for broadcasting to the Russian-controlled areas of Ukraine, such as Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson region, as well as the territory of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea in the city of Sevastopol. Starting 2023, the Russian-controlled so-called administrations of those portions of Kherson and Zaporizhia regions that are currently seized by the invaders have been urging the local to apply for free installation of the equipment required to watch the Russian Vault TV channels. That TV package includes 20 Russian TV channels and 9 local ones. By local, we mean those established under the invaders' control in the occupied territories of Ukraine. So, Russians see satellite TV as a means of putting people into information isolation and brainwashing them with propaganda, rather than a tool for delivering information. According to our estimate, Ukraine's efforts to stop the dissemination of Kremlin narratives would relieve some 70 million Russian-speaking peoples from the British Isles to the Urals from the ongoing information influence. Alas, no effective counteraction mechanism has yet been developed. Slow slicing tactics is ineffective against a propaganda monster nurtured for decades. There is one more element: legal consideration of IPR infringements, which copyright owners, among others, should pay attention to. Going back to Russian Vault TV package, we're talking not just about a blatant violation of international standards, but also about trivial piracy, the government-sponsored piracy. After all, there can be no legitimate way to fulfill license agreements when broadcasting content to occupied territories. Back in the day, most Ukrainian media holdings encoded their TV channel signals and on satellite upon the request of the copyright owners. Looks like it's not a problem to Russians. So, with the Russian World TV package broadcasted free of charge of the inhabitants of the temporarily controlled areas, we see an example of a channel that broadcast American cartoons produced in 2019. Are the owners getting paid for the content? Do they know that Russians use these media products for Ukrainian children? No. Any copyright owner that agrees to provide any content for broadcasting to Russia-controlled Ukrainian territories becomes a sponsor of terrorism. I believe one should think twice about it. Summing up the main takeaways, the aggressor action have only made the issues that had been in the air for a long time become relevant again. First, cyber defense of satellite infrastructure should include all of its components, from centralized control to end-user terminals, from modernizing technologies and protection tools to raising awareness and building cyber hygiene skills. Second, the issue of countering propaganda. Alas, the financial component often defeats democracy. Content monitoring and prohibition of propaganda spreading channels across the world should become a key priority today. Hiding behind technical delivery terms will do no good here. No short-term profit is worth the future where the home is invaded and destroyed by the aggressor. Third, the mechanism of prosecution for the crimes committed should be comprehensive and effective. Is Russia being held accountable for its propaganda activity? The answer is no. The enemy might only lose a few channels dedicated to such activity. The world needs to establish an effective mechanism of sanction for the illegal use of space, outer space, be it an act aggression against another country's satellite infrastructure and its uses or utilization of this infrastructure for further aggression. It shouldn't be an uncoordinated set of resolution and sanction, but a single comprehensive approach which would cover, among other things, a legal framework to impose a complete ban on access to any satellite technology, either domestic or foreign one. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, the space communication, satellite infrastructure, very important infrastructure today, but cybersecurity threat very actual to all components of satellite communication and satellite infrastructure. And we need building a common framework for cybersecurity for this technology. In the end, very thanks again for inviting this conference and very grateful for your support, my people, during this hard time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General Potii, for your keynote. Very interesting. I'm asking the audience, please don't hesitate if you have any questions to type them up on the application. I'll try to read them out loud to General Potii. I have obviously several comments after your presentation. Maybe starting with the VIASAT attack. You're a security professional. You've been working in cybersecurity for years. Were you surprised that the Russians were also targeting specifically satellites and space communications at the beginning of the war? Was that something surprising for you?
The first hour of full invasion, we detect cyber attack of VIASAT infrastructure, but maybe not a big surprise for my service, because 2-3 weeks ago we have a big cyber attack of government resource in January 2022, and we was ready to react on this cyber attack. But I would like to say that cyber attack of, for example, of VIASAT infrastructure, not only cyber attack of military infrastructure for Ukraine. In my opinion, more hard impact was of civilian infrastructure who use VIASAT component for example, control wide station, wide energy station in Europe country and another citizen. So this is a common space, cyberspace and space. This is common space, different country, and we need building a common strategy of cybersecurity of this space. So return to your question. We, my service and our specialists don't have a big surprise for cyber attack of this satellite communication VIASAT. We will be ready, and we very quickly detect and reacted of this cyber attack. And this cyber attack not have a huge negative impact of our communication for military command and for civilian command.
Yeah,
thank you.
That was also my next question to wrap up about VIASAT and then moving on. There were a lot of stories out there, but I was wondering what was the actual impact on the operations about this attack on the VIASAT network? What was exactly the impact on the forces back then?
If you're right, understand your question, we want to know what negative impact we have of military communication during the cyber attack of VIASAT infrastructure, yes?
Okay, because there have been some discussions where you mentioned this network was used as a backup for terrestrial communications.
Yes, VIASAT channel we use only backup, not backup on reservation channel. We use another channel, radio channel of standard channel communication, and we use VIASAT channel for reservation communications channel. That we very quickly restored this channel, but during the first time full invasion, we basically use of a standard channel canal for communication and special and another special communication, not only satellite communication. So we don't have catastrophic impact. We very quickly restore a communication of different region for military command and for civilian administration.
And now moving to the Starlink topic, I believe this was very helpful for you on the field to have the ability to recover satellite communications thanks to the Starlink system. We have a question here from the audience, wondering if did Starlink provide cybersecurity and technical support to Ukrainian officials when Starlink was under cyber attack by the Russians, like you mentioned before?
Thank you for your question. First of all, I recommend our participants in this conference upload our special report from CCSAT from our website, learned lesson of cybersecurity 2022 for Ukraine war, during Ukraine war. This is a good technical report, and report have detailed information about about your question and another interesting question about satellite infrastructure. Yes, satellite very help us for restoring and for building alternative communication for internet communication. In the first day in war, we give a lot of terminals, Starlink terminals. Thank you for our partners and another country who gives this terminal, to Ukraine. And we very quickly building a good reservation after this main internet infrastructure to Ukraine. Satellite Starlink terminal very important for. Very important of territory where will be destroyed basic broadcasting infrastructure, basic communication, and Starlink component, Starlink terminal help us very quickly give internet service for citizens. This internet service very important for emergency service, first of all, for civilian infrastructure, first of all. This is not basic communication channel for military component. For civilian, very important Starlink terminal. And very good experience in practice how we can use satellite internet, like Starlink technology and so on, for this crisis time. A very good experience. Today we very widely use the Starlink terminal, and we have official communication with United States company Starlink, and today we have official representative Starlink in Ukraine, and ongoing work together for increase our capabilities and resilience our internet infrastructure in Ukraine, and give special internet service for civilian infrastructure in our citizens.
Can you give us an order of magnitude of how many Starlink terminals you have working today in Ukraine? How many do you plan to have in the coming month?
Ukraine is countries who have a freedom. We don't know number of Starlink terminals, because we have many ways of deliver the terminals. A lot of terminals deliver of volunteers, for example, and so on. But today, in my opinion, we have approximately some thousand of terminals of Ukraine, some thousand, maybe 10,000 terminals.
Okay.
But we don't know accuracy, don't know number.
Okay. Time is almost over. One last question. This event is really gathering most of the space cybersecurity ecosystem companies, satellite operators, suppliers, security companies. What is your wish for all these companies, organizations that are here today in Paris? What do you need? What would you be asking from us to help you recover from this situation?
If we speak about common cybersecurity requirement for satellite infrastructure or for space infrastructure, I recommend building a complex cybersecurity system for infrastructure. We need to protect satellite. We need to protect a special command control line between satellite and command control center of infrastructure of territorial infrastructure. We need building cybersecurity system for users, terminals or users device, and need provide common framework for cybersecurity who based of for example, a good best practice and framework of standardization. And very important component of is cryptography security of command control line, and cryptography security of information line between satellite and Earth infrastructure. And in perspective, I hope that post-quantum cryptography will be a very important technology for protect command control line and protect end user line. And this is a perspective direction of develop special cryptography device for satellite component and so on. We know this is a very actual problem today, not on today in different countries and USA and Europe Union develop a special standard of post-quantum cryptography. So if you have a common approach, systematic approach for building cybersecurity of full infrastructure, satellite infrastructure, we decrease cybersecurity risk for this infrastructure, and we building more secure space technology. And I read that today in your conference, representative special cyber attack of satellite and very interesting technology. But this example demonstrates us that today cyberspace, space infrastructure, satellite infrastructure, unfortunately, vulnerability for cyber threats. Very high IT technology implies in the satellite infrastructure. This is this is effective approach, but IT technology, unfortunately, vulnerability. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And last question, I promise, and then I leave the floor to Margot. Question, is there any information sharing between the different players active supporting you in Ukraine, especially regarding Starlink and VIASAT, sharing information about the tactics, the techniques, procedures used during the attacks by Russia? Do you share information? How do you work with all the players?
Yes. First of all, SSIP has a good national cyber response team, CERT-UA. This response team have official website, and every day we, from this website, we sharing information about cyber incident, cyber attack of information infrastructure in Ukraine. Cyber response team prepares special technical reports. These technical reports sharing from website, like our annual report 2022. The second, another way sharing our information. Today we're very close, work together of official representative in other country. We have, for example, special memorandum from CISA, with Poland government, with another country, and in according to this memorandum, we exchange information about our experience, give information about our practice, detect and react of cyber incident and cyber attack. We always ready to exchange this information. We understand that very important for our partners, because Ukraine today have a very good behavior of cyberspace. Like another country. So we have my contact in your conference and our representative, and we can contact with me, my colleagues, and give any information about new cyber attacks, tactics, mechanism cyber attack, and another detailed information, technical detailed information about cybersecurity in Ukraine and our practice. And we can include join another cyber institution in Ukraine. This is this is Security Service, Cyber Police, and National Coordination Center of Cybersecurity. And we already very close cooperate with our partners from Europe Union on this sphere. Thank you.
All right, that was my last.